Hello, everyone. Welcome back to those who are returning from earlier sessions. Now we're excited to introduce Jerry Taylor, who will be leading today's career planning workshop. Jerry Taylor is a workforce development leader and educator committed to expanding access to EcoCareers for underrepresented youth. With more than a decade of experience across the K through 12 education, higher education, and government sectors, she designs programs and policies that bridge the gap between classroom learning and meaningful careers in forestry, conservation, and the broader green economy. Jerry is the founding partner of Rise Above Education, L3C, an educational consulting firm specializing in workforce development, curriculum design, and capacity building. She previously served as Senior Director of Diversity and Career Pathways at the Sustainable Forestry Initiative. Author and editor of Black Faces in Green Spaces, The Journeys of Green Careers, Jerry combines rigorous qualitative and quantitative research with storytelling to highlight pathways into the conservation and forestry sectors. Raised in a horticulture and aquaculture family, Jerry blends hands-on environmental knowledge with advanced training, holding a master's in education and human development with a concentration in school and career counseling and a BS in public health. Jerry, take it away. And I'm going to encourage attendees to be even more interactive with this session. I know in the last few sessions, we've been using the chat box, the Q&A box. But if you want to get involved, raise your hand. We want to hear from you. But for now, I'm going to pass it to you, Jerry.
Hi, thank you so much, David, for this opportunity. You've heard about my background, and so today I wanted to talk about power of the pivot and soft skills, really power skills, and building career agility and changing the workforce. This topic is very personal to me because I remember graduating from the University of Maryland at College Park in 2009, and we were in the middle of a recession and being completely lost because there were no job opportunities. And in that moment, I had to learn how to be very, very, very creative. And I think that many of you know what's going on right now, but I wanted to share with you that there is no lost opportunity. I was folding clothes at J.C. Penney's and I still use those skills today. And so I just want to talk about the opportunities that you will have in this sector and how you can be agile during this time.
And Jerry, I'm just going to, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to let you know that the share screen is sharing the presentation mode. So it's
What?
showing like next slide and whatnot.
It's not showing
I
the,
think, yeah, it's
sorry, let me go back.
all good.
I didn't know that you can see that. It's not supposed to show that. See, we have glitches, but it's okay. We're gonna be flexible today, right? So
Right.
let me see if it's still gonna show it. Let me do it from here. Do you still see it?
That's perfect.
Okay, wow, that's crazy because it has the notes on here. Okay, so today we're going to define a pivot in a professional sector. We're going to understand the role of soft skills, aka our power skills, and career transitions, and identify strategies to build accountability and adaptability and resilience. Okay. So before we get started, we're gonna do a quick little activity because I know you've been sitting and hearing people listen and talk. So I want you to think of a time that you had to adjust really quickly. What happened, what changed, and how you had to change. And so please feel free to enter that in the text box, or also if you can come off speaker, please do so. Don't be shy because we're gonna talk about these soft skills today. I'll give you a moment. Would anybody like to share? Oh,
All right. Yeah, we have one person who's raised their hand, so I'm just going to allow them to talk.
please. Thank you.
And you're muted right now, Persephone. There we go.
Are y'all able to hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I mentioned in the earlier session that I had been trying to break into a eco career for years, and eventually I had to give up on that, and I ended up becoming a dog trainer at PetSmart. and I had a bachelor's in environmental science, so I thought like, what the heck am I doing? And I was pretty depressed for a while working that, thinking, I'll never be able to do activism. And then in 2024, I sort of accidentally stumbled into starting a national union movement and like basically utilizing my online skills to agitate a bunch of PetSmart workers who were being underpaid and suffering bad corporate decisions. And it led to a bunch of stores unionizing and a whole avenue that I never thought I would go down, and that even if I don't, I wasn't in the exact field that I wanted to be in, like there's still ways to affect change, and that was a really hard pivot that happened really fast, and it took a lot of adaptation. I think for me, keeping the end goal in mind and being flexible in like what I was willing to do, I was kind of the jack of all trades, doing like being the public face of the movement and doing a lot of work behind the scenes to organize it and also just like seeing like the fruits of my labor and other organizers' labor helped a lot as well.
Thank you so much for sharing. I do have one question for you because you did bring up about it being a little depressing because I've been through that, trying to do my pivot and wanting to follow my dreams. What are
Yeah.
some things that you did during that time to stay motivated?
Um, that's a good question. I wasn't I didn't wasn't handling it as healthily as I could. I didn't have all the skills that I have now. So I don't know if I have any applicable skills or lessons from that. I definitely threw myself into the when the union movement started. I burned myself out quite extensively, throwing
Mhm.
myself into it. But I wouldn't recommend that for sustainability reasons. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I appreciate the question.
Definitely. I mean, I've had that experience. I'm in a pivot right now, and we'll talk about that a little bit in my story as well. But I was a senior director, and I wanted to have a little bit more work-life balance. And the economy has been interesting, and so I found myself utilizing my skills for my family's franchise at Midas. And so being able to still use the community engagement skills and just being open. But still, during that time, I was sharing this with David that I kept my hand in forestry and in career pathways by just reaching out to as many people as possible and just showing my interest in workforce. So I do think that it is important that you sometimes have to create your own path through your pivot. So I'm just thankful for that story. Does anybody else have any examples that they would like to share? All right. Well, we'll go into our next slide. So, we're talking about our pivot. And so, you may see a QR code at the top. And so, I wanted this to be a little bit interactive. I wanted to know how many careers do you think people will have in their lifetime on average? And I'll give you a few minutes to sign in on my poll. And if you're unable to get into the poll, please be open. Yes, thank you. Please feel free to, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to let you know, according to career transitions across the lifespan, a review of research and its agenda that was published by the Journal of Vocational Behavior in 2023, the average person changes their career roughly 5 to 7 times. So pivots are going to be very important in our lifetime. While job switching Job switching from employers are more frequent, so we'll definitely understand there are differences from jobs and careers, averaging about 12 times in a working lifetime. True career pivots, such as changing fields or industries, occur multiple times, with the age of 39 being the average age for major career changes. And so, for those who, my 14%, you were correct. You were definitely correct. Thank you for participating. All right, so we're going to talk about understanding the power of the pivot, which is going to be very, very important for us today. So, we know that pivots are typically strategic, and it's a change in how you work, what you do, or what you're going to be designing to create better opportunities to adapt. Some of the characteristics that make sure that the pivot is positive is definitely being intentional. So, really thinking about that, being able to adapt because things change all the time. Sometimes we're growing, so definitely our interests may change, or even things just happen in our life that cause us to change. I love when Persephone said, just keeping the end goal in mind. So being forward focused and being able to transfer your skills that you already have. This is not a hard stop and we're starting over. So that is what a pivot is. So, why is pivoting essential in today's workforce? And I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of information I'm going to share with you about this. But we have, according to the Future Jobs Report of 2025, which came out in February, technological change, geoeconomic fragmentation, economic uncertainty, demographic shifts, and green transitions individually and combination are among the major drivers expected to shape and transform the global labor market by 2030. Broadening digital access is expected to be the most transformative trend, both across technology related trends and overall, with 60% of employers expecting this to transform their business by 2030. Advancements in technologies, particularly AI, which I know that's been coming up a lot today, and information processing at 86%, robotics and automation at 58%, and energy generation, storage, and distribution at 41% are expected to be transformative. These trends are expected to have divergent effects, driving both the fastest growth and declining in roles and fueling demand. So I know you hear declining roles, and I was just actually sitting in a meeting about AI jobs, and being honest, it's really going to be to make some efficiency and really for like administrative roles. Because there are certain jobs, especially in conservation, when you're cutting trees hand to ground, that you're not going to be able to use AI for. We also know that the technology related skills that are going to be needed at this time include AI, big data, networks and cybersecurity, and technological literacy, which are anticipated to be the top three growing skills. So I don't know how many people on this call have heard of the program Udemy, that was taken over by Coursera, but they always have introductory to AI courses for $9.99. If you're a student, they have access to that. And honestly, a lot of jobs, because AI is so new, they just like to know that you know something about AI or have participated in some certification or programming around AI because it is very new and nuanced. The geoeconomic fragmentation and geopolitical tensions. Many people think that, we have a lot going on right now, but we do know that they are expected to change the business model. Employers who expect geoeconomic trends to transform their businesses are also more likely to offshore and even more likely to reshore operations. These trends are driving security jobs, increasing demand in network, as we talked about, cybersecurity. They're also increasing demand in human-centered skills, which you're going to talk about those power skills, such as resiliency, flexibility, agility, leadership, and social influence. And so, again, we'll get into those skills, but that is important just to keep in mind. Everything is not just technical. Economic uncertainty with the increased cost of living is the second most transformative trend overall. The top related to economic conditions, with half of the employers are expecting to transform their business by 2030. With the net, we know that job growth is a lot slower and they're expecting some displacements globally, but there will be a large influx of job creation, they were stating, after 2030. But some of the skills that they're expecting that you should have is, again, creative thinking, innovation, resilience, flexibility, and agility. So just remember, a lot of things are changing behind the scenes. So not just getting your technical skills, these soft skills are really going to be important. And one of the things that made me excited about this report was that the green transition, climate change mitigation is the third most transformative trend overall. The top trend related to green transition, while climate change adaptation ranks sixth, with 47% and 41% of employers respectively expecting these trends to transform their business in the next 5 years. This is a driving demand in roles such as renewable energy, with engineers, environmental engineers, and electric and autonomous vehicle specialists. But we also know that this is the first time where 15 climate jobs were actually listed as skills that will grow very fast. So even if you're seeing right now, it's not that many jobs, or you're worried about conservation, just remember we do have supply chains that are not just in America, but also offshore. And so there are countries that still have requirements around climate mitigations. So, one of the main things of why I'm bringing this up is because jobs today will not look the same from the next 5 to 10 years. And the ability to pivot is going to be your core competency. Um, does anybody have any thoughts on any of these changes or concerns at this time with these changes? Mm-mm-mm-mm. So, I have another question for you because I do not want you to just be sitting here and not responding. What is one change in your industry, and this is going to be a word cloud, that could force you to pivot in the next 3 years? So please enter in. If you cannot, you can place it in the chat if you do not see it coming up on your screen. And you're welcome to use your cell phone as well. Healthcare, yes. Benefits, yes. Disaster. Mm-hmm. Automation. Mm-hmm. Yes. Cuts. Recession, yes. Crash, yes. Politics. Economics, that's huge on this screen. Um, so would anybody like to get off of, write in the chat or speak about some of these concerns that you may have about the pivot? Yes, funding. Would anybody like to share some of their thoughts on this? Just based on what we just read in the recent, and remember, that's a global report. So it's not just based on the United States. Would anybody like to talk about some of these concerns or how they're feeling? Yes, please. Ms. Persephone, please share.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, in terms of politics, economics, climate crisis. I live in Houston, so that's a very susceptible city to climate change, hurricanes, floods, heat waves, etc. Um, in Texas, the state is pretty hostile to environmental causes, and obviously federally, but that could pivot again depending on how elections go. So it's always very volatile from at least from my experience, and so it is subject to the change of all these different things: economics, politics, funding, um, climate, etc. So yeah, I'm really glad that you're talking about pivoting.
Yes, I think it's very important. And I know that this is concerning for so many people. And I think that this conversation is going to be important for us to have. And that's why I wanted to provide just the global perspective as well. Just because I know right now everything looks crazy. Like I live in North Carolina. There's been a lot of funding cuts, but we've also seen some increase in workforce development programs, which has been very interesting. And as you know, we are a big forestry and ag state. So, I mean, I've seen some states that have been able to come up with some very creative ways, especially using private funding. A lot more private organizations are stepping up. So I don't know if you know about forestry and how many forests. So 90% of the forest in the United States are owned by private companies, and only 10% is federal and public. And so I have definitely seen a lot of major corporations putting more funding into programming just because they need a workforce as well. Like we know a lot of things are changing, but we also know that we still have to keep business running. And so that has been interesting. All right, so we'll go to the next slide. Okay, so as we talked about, pivoting is going to be important because it's increased resiliency and it expands your career opportunities. As I heard from Persephone, just from her experience, you know, you shared a lot of different skills that you were able to learn along the way, and even things you learned about yourself as far as burnout and things that you need to do for yourself. So I think that pivots provide you a lot of growth opportunities. And so I just think that's important for us to talk about. And then greater innovation and problem solving, because that is what we're going to need right now during this time is to think outside the box. Nothing looks the same as it used to. The workforce climate has definitely changed. So this is like the time where you really start to hone in on the things that you really love. We've seen a lot of entrepreneurship coming out at this time, a lot of companies, LLCs, just really trying to make sure that the work is continued. And like I said, a lot more private funding opportunities, just because there's major pivots that are having to be made. All right. So we're going to talk about one of the things that a lot of people do not think about, which is soft skills is a foundation to successful pivots. And yes, I have to hop off unfortunately, but thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Alina. Thank you. All right, so we're going to talk about the definition and scope of soft skills. And I always call them power skills. Some people call them people skills. I really don't like that they call them soft skills because soft skills are the things that keep you at a job, and we know that. So you're looking at this iceberg, and so I love to use this because the iceberg, the clear competency, those are the things that you can be tested on, monitored. That's your knowledge. Those are your hard skills. That's what people see automatically when they receive your resume. They have your degrees, everything's listed out. And then you have those soft skills. And so hard skills, as we said, are those specific teachable abilities and knowledge that are objectively defined. And these soft skills, also power skills, on the other hand, are interpersonal and intrapersonal abilities that affect how candidates interact with others and approach their work, which again, I will say, your soft skills is what keeps you having the job. Understanding these skills are important because companies are shifting to becoming skill-based organizations. So before, companies will hire honestly based on just your certifications, the name of your school, GPA. We are not hiring like that anymore. We need skills. So we are reading through, and we talked about AI, but AI is also picking up words, and we're providing soft skill ratings just because we know that those are the things that we need at those jobs at that moment. And so one of the main things we know, this shift is gaining momentum as business look more flexible, inclusive, and future ready as ways to match talents with an opportunity. For job seekers, this is great news. It means your ability to lead a team, adapt to change, or communicate clearly can open doors. Sometimes that even more traditional qualifications might have closed for you. This is why it's important to highlight these strengths on your resume. And so here are a few things. Like I definitely know when I was hiring for positions at SFI, yes, we would give them tasks to do just to make sure that they could do things. Honestly, I was looking at timeliness, like what time did you turn it in to me? I was also looking at are they dependable? So if I had to call and ask a question, did they respond back? And then using some of the STAR method, which is like where we ask you questions, where we learn like, tell us of a time where you've had to work with a team. And those type of questions, we're literally asking about how do you collaborate with others? How do you problem solve, especially, if you have competing opinions? Are you able to be open-minded? How do you compromise? And so a lot of times you've probably seen these situational questions during interviews, but that is mainly for us to look at those soft skills because they're very important and they're starting to add them in the job descriptions. Like you'll probably see the ideal candidate would be able to collaborate in teams, work with diverse cultures. You'll see it in the listings now, and those are really talking about soft skills, and those should be highlighted on your resume. All right, so we're talking about these power skills for pivoting. These are the main skills that have been pulled out by employers. And so I was talking to David about some recent research that I was doing, looking at all of the different careers and opportunities in the forest and conservation sector. And these are the skills that our employers are stating like, I definitely need adaptability, thriving in change and adjusting to new situations, communication, exchanging ideas clearly and effectively. Emotional intelligence is huge. Like you would be surprised how many people I've seen miss opportunities in multiple jobs just because they lacked emotional intelligence, which is managing their emotions and building strong relationships. And that's where that compromise and being able to value others really plays a role in your job. Critical thinking is making smart decisions based on analysis. And again, collaboration is always huge. Working together to achieve results and resilience, bouncing back stronger from challenges. And I'll definitely say why this is huge. You may get feedback that is not always the greatest. And so you do have to have some emotional intelligence. And you definitely have to be able to just get back into the game. And I think even when we're thinking about pivoting, that resilience is going to be key. And we heard a story today from Persephone about some of her resilience. Okay. So I have an activity for you, which is going to require you to kind of think about these adaptability skills. So I have them up on the screen. I'm going to give you a couple minutes and I am going to go through each one and I'm going to ask you to rate yourself with one being your weakest and five being your strongest. You don't have to share it with the group. This is just for self-awareness because this is very important for the process of building your career plan, which we'll talk about next. All right, so adaptability, we talked about thriving in change and adjusting to new situations. I'm going to give you a couple questions just to think about so you rate yourself. Can you adapt to new people and new situations? Can you respond to change quickly? I just want you to think about that for a moment and rate yourself. Okay. The next one, we'll talk about communication, exchanging ideas clearly and effectively. How is your written communication? How is your verbal communication? How well do you listen? And not just listening to answer questions, but actively listening. All right. The next one is emotional intelligence, managing emotions and building strong relationships. Do you know your strengths and weaknesses? That's what emotional intelligence is about, being able to know where you stand at any given moment. Can you manage your emotions? Do you see value in your teammates? Um, that's another one. And then critical thinking, making smart decisions based on analysis. Can you effectively solve problems? Are your solutions creative? Are they innovative? And what methods do you use? And then the other one is collaboration, working together to achieve results. Are you able to work with others? Like, honestly, do you only want to work with yourself? Are you able to keep communication with other departments? Because a lot of my work at SFI was communicating against pretty much all of our five pillars and keeping everybody informed and being able to work with them on multiple projects. And then resilience, bouncing back stronger from challenges. If you're given a critique on your work, are you able to bounce back and fix the work? Um, if you're not, let's say you don't have a great grade in a classroom, are you able to still strive for, doing your best regardless of what that letter or that number on that paper says? And so I'm just going to let you think about those. Remember, one is your weakest and five is your strongest. And I want you to just look at all of those skills. And I know I said I didn't want people to share, but if you are in the chat, I would love to see some interaction if you feel comfortable. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you never know who is on this call. You never know who is in the room with you. You never know the opportunities they can present for you. So it's just very important that I know it's a little nerve-wracking, but try to participate because this is again a moment where I've been an employer, I could be looking at, how are you interacting? How are you communicating? How are you overcoming some of your fears? So I was just wondering if anybody would like to share where they're at, some of their strengths, and you can put it in the chat. Anybody? I think my top skills are adaptability, collaboration, and emotional intelligence. I need to work on resilience. That's great, Meredith. Like, that's really honest. And we'll get to that, like your steps to working on that. Thank you for sharing. That takes a lot. I will definitely say one of my strengths has been adaptability and emotional intelligence and critical thinking. I have struggled in the workplace with collaboration because while I was working at SFI, I was one of the only people who did workforce development. So sometimes it was hard for me to work with my colleagues on other projects because maybe I didn't communicate as well as I could have because I'm speaking in cloud talk, as I say. Like they know nothing about career pathways and I'm just throwing out data at them. And also because there were different theories, we would have a lot of competing ideas. And so that was a challenge. I mean, and I can be honest, that was hard for me sometimes. Would anybody else like to share? And thank you again. Thank you. Let me see. Okay, I'm going down the chat. Where's my thing? Within communication, sometimes I struggle to get my ideas across, so I would like to grow in that area. but I'm a great listener. So that's great. I think communication sometimes is challenging. One of the things that one of my mentors helped me because I can go on rants, honestly, like I can go stage left, was writing down a couple bullets for my thoughts and then being able to make sure that if I were to teach it to someone, anybody, they would be able to understand it and not over explaining things. So I think that that was one tool that really helped me is I'm a little bit better written in written communication. I think I'm good at building relationships, Sasha, and staying connected with people along with working well with people of different backgrounds. I definitely need to keep working on not giving up. That's that resiliency is hard. If we have time, I'll tell you my story of like life happenings that I had to learn, that everything is not in my control, but just keep kind of plugging at it. Everything is not going to happen overnight, and that's okay. And everybody is not going to understand your goals or your dreams. And like that was something huge for me, just because I wanted to make sure that I followed what my parents wanted me to do. I think my strengths are critical thinking, plus making others feel seen and heard. That's great. Working on resilience as a neurodivergent individual. Hey, we're both here. I pace myself to prevent burnout. Also working on communication. As a neurodivergent person, I communicate very transparently and I don't. Okay. Comes off as intense. I mean, I can say that I have that same passion sometimes at work. So I definitely understand. I'm working on that skill as well. But I'm also very honest. When I was where I used to work, though, it's like I'm very direct and I don't mean anything by it. Just because I know that that is something that I've struggled with being neurodivergent. So I've had to sometimes give them a little caveat before we started conversation. I'm a preschool teacher, so I have a lot of experience in collaborating with other classes in my classroom team, but I struggle with resilience at times. We'll definitely have to talk about this resiliency thing. I think a lot is happening right now. And so that does have some impacts. But again, the best thing I can say is break it down into little tiny goals. Like best way I can use it is like when I used to go to the gym. My first day trying to attempt to go to the gym, I literally just walked to the door of the gym and I went home. Like, and I was happy, like, because that was like a little goal that I could do just to keep my momentum and not overwhelm myself. And especially with you working in a class setting, I'm coming from the education setting, it's a little rough, especially if you really love the kids and all of the policies. Sometimes it's challenging, especially to stay motivated, especially when your heart is in it. In a job where I worked in a crew and we spent all day together working outside, I realized I needed to work more on my collaboration skills, but I'm more adaptable than I thought. That's really good. Thank you for everybody who's decided to share in the chat. This has been very helpful. And as you can see, we all have different areas that we can improve on to help us through our pivot. But guess what? On this call, you have a million people that information with, and that's something that I'll bring up at the end of this is like making sure that you stay connected with the people on these calls. Many of my opportunities have come from just building connections on webinars, and so I just think, you know, these are people that you can also look up to. They're also in some of the same experience, going through the same challenges that you are trying to break into eco careers, or they've been in eco careers. So I just think it's important to also network through these sessions because you never know who you are going to meet. All right. So we're talking about skill mapping. So we talked about that pivot that we talked about earlier. Just curious, what skills do you think that you will have to rely on the most in your next pivot? And you can just put it in the chat. I'm just curious. What do you think you will have to rely on? And think about some of the things we heard from the jobs report as well that gave us some skills that you may have to rely on moving forward during this pivot. Not all at once. Please put something in there. If not, that's fine. Okay. Adaptability. Power skills. Yes. Networking. That one. And communication, I am going to tell you something about power skills, communication, and networking. Networking and building those connections, you will be surprised how many doors have been opened. So, like I said, I left my organization and I stayed in contact with a person that got to know me through another person. And she found out how much I loved workforce development. And she stepped out on a limb for me to help me get a grant that I'm currently working on just because she knew my passion and we stayed in contact. And this grant honestly had taken me 2 years doing my own personal research, digging to learn as much as I can. So as I see you saying, like working on AI, I think that's important. So I see a question. How do you keep up with your network? I'll be honest. There were a few people that were very important in my transition to SFI, especially because I'm not coming from direct trained forestry. And so, anybody that really, I will say like prop me up or provided me words of encouragement because sometimes I felt deflated. I am not from forestry, so I was like, oh my gosh, even though I knew aquaculture and tobacco and all of that stuff, this was just not my sector. I would say always kind of just doing a once a month check-in. Go through your list, and I can send y'all something after this session, but I have it's called a networking web. And I have a list of people from all different parts for my web. So there are people that are just my really good friends that I need just some positive words of encouragement. I have some that are directly connected to counseling and career pathways. I have some that have just mentored me through forestry. And I just kind of have put into practice once a month touch points. Even if it's a quick text, hey, how are you doing? Just wanted to check on you. Um, Anybody I've met at conferences, definitely following up with an email if I receive their business card and just trying to learn about their job. So I think some of it is just asking questions and being inquisitive. But I think really just kind of coming up with a schedule. I know that sounds probably a little off, but I do have a schedule where I literally check in with all my mentors at least once a month. And doesn't have to be a long touch point, literally 5 minutes, like I said, a text message. Yes. Yes, I come to understand most applications are written by AI, read by AI from my perspective, human beings. Yes, I do know that a lot of applications are read by AI, but I will also say your network is your net worth. There are jobs that they had, I'll be honest, they had the AI, going through the system and everything, looking at our resumes. But because I knew a person, they were able to push my resume to the top because they were able to actually speak on what I was able to do. And I'll be honest, sometimes my resumes were denied just because I didn't use the exact words from the posting. And so I do think that that's where networking comes in handy. Another example I can use was I had a question about the application and I reached out to HR and literally just asked a simple question like, hey, I wanted to make sure. I had a question about one of our task sets. And because I asked that question, she was like, you're the only person that called and asked the question. That's why I moved your resume up. And I was just like, wow, I would have never even known. So I think sometimes it's going the extra mile. And then, like I said, this AI generated resume issue is causing a lot of issues. I have friends that are in HR and it's been a lot of issues because there's a lot of bias that come from those systems. And I know that they're saying like when one job comes up, like 300 people have applied and they're missing the good applicants. So I would also say if there is ever a job fair, I do not care if it's a random job fair, could be the most random job fair. I have seen people get corporate jobs from going to the local Burger King job fair because somebody there was the regional and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this person is great." And they were able to be pushed through. So I think definitely just exposing yourself to different people in different situations and places. And if you are in college currently or an alumni, please use Handshake. Please go back to your career center. That is a free service to all students at universities. I do not care if you graduated. Colleges make their numbers based on how many students have jobs and keep jobs. And so they will also support you with connections that they have internally. So I do think that's important as well. Like, do not forget about your career centers that you're already attached to. So yeah. And then you said you don't, okay, yeah, just don't want to sound forced reaching out. Yeah, just make it natural. Like when I call my mentors, we talk about the weather. We don't always talk about work. We literally just talk about life sometimes. And that's been able to give them a little bit of information about me. So we'll go to the next slide. And this is where I want you to start to think about, and this is what I call your story. I want you to start at one where we started to reflect, to take some time and think about your interests, your values, your passions, and your strengths. And if these are your interests, your passions, and your strengths that you are currently in, think about really thoroughly, like, what about this passion energizes me? So, yes, I went to school to be a school counselor. And based on my certification, which I was sharing with David, anytime you can get any certifications through your schools, get as many as possible. Um, it was suggested by my professor. And honestly, I use the certification more than I use anything in school counseling. And so, I loved this part of my job because when I was a school counselor, my favorite part of my job was careers. I love seeing kids' face light up when they're like, "Ooh, I want to work in HVAC," or "Ooh, I like this." I love that. That was my favorite thing, or taking them to career days or to job fairs or job shadowing opportunities. It was just something about a person discovering the thing that they love that always energized me. And so I want you just to kind of think about these different little areas that can support you. So, like, what energizes you? What are you good at? Also, reflecting on some of those areas, because self-awareness, as we talk about emotional intelligence and different things that you have to work on, like, write down also some of your weaknesses. Like, I need to work on adaptability. Like, what are some of those things that I can build those soft skills? And soft skills are not just things that you can go in and like go get a degree for it. Really got to practice it every day. So communication when you're at the grocery store. Um, Making sure that, if a plan changes, how are you executing that plan changing in your day-to-day life? Volunteering is a great place to work on soft skills. And I'll just always tell anybody, at least every couple months, do a volunteer activity. You get to work with all kinds of diverse people. There's a form, you do have to collaborate a lot of times on the work that you are doing. And it's just a great place to really hone in on your skills, but also to give back. And so I do think that's important. And then explore the other options. Look at the trends. So today we talked about some of the trends that are going to be happening. So we know AI is on the cusp. We know that there's a lot of innovation that's happening in climate mitigation. There are so many organizations that have internships and fellowships, and I talk to them all the time, and they never have students. And you would be surprised. They never have students apply, and they have to give that money back. And sometimes the pay is not great. Like, I'll be honest, I've had some jobs. I was talking to David, like when I was going through my transition, I was open to work at Burger King. I didn't even care. I just needed to work and I needed to continue to work on my soft skills while I was transitioning because I knew that wasn't my end goal. I just knew that that was a place that I needed. I live in the country, not a lot of jobs that close to me in the area, so I had to be very open. And so I do think that that's important. And then think about potential pathways. Right now, you literally can create your own job. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I did at SFI. Before I came to SFI, there was nobody in career pathways. That was not even a job at all. And how I got that job was literally a network that I built at my previous job. I had met a lovely lady who had shared with me, "You're a little too smart to be working at the current organization. I have a connection for you." And so I think sometimes just being open to that. Tips on practicing soft skills. I was looking at, yes. Networking while attempting to be genuine, authentic, not come off. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I get some of the most random LinkedIn messages from people. They don't introduce themselves. They're writing, "Hey, bro." And a lot of times, those are the notes that stay unread. Like, I just leave them unread just because I think that if we're going to have a professional conversation, you will be surprised at how many professionals would love to tell you their story just because it hasn't been easy. So I definitely think even reaching out, "Hey, I see that you work with Nature Conservancy. Please let me know. You know, I want to learn a little bit more about your position. I see that you're working on these projects," which I also think when you're reaching out, do a little research about the person. Google them, see some of the projects. I mean, people do like to see that you've actually looked them up before you reach out to them cold turkey. Does anybody have any other questions? I do think while you're sitting down and thinking about your pivot, one of the places, I think when it says take action, definitely start working on your elevator pitch. And if you ever need help with that, I have a training on an elevator pitch, pretty strong. I think the other thing is asking for feedback from your network, friends, teachers, um, anybody that you've had any interactions with that you trust and will give you valuable information. I think that that is going to be important. And I've gotten some harsh feedback, like I've gotten some harsh feedback, but I've also known that it's helped me to grow. Well, yes, I will actually send it to David. I will send you that, and I have one for networking as well. So I will send that to David as some follow-ups for you. Let me write that down. And some of my trainings are on my LinkedIn as well. If you look me up, and I'll accept anybody. I know that a lot of my colleagues post jobs, conservation jobs, pretty much every week, about 20 jobs a week, and I don't mind sending that information. But yes, please send me anything. As I said, right now, I am doing research until about May 19th, but if you ever want to just schedule it, like just look at everything, like I love career counseling. This is one of my passions, and I do have a lot of connections. So I don't mind helping you. I don't mind looking at your resume. I don't mind doing mock interviews with you. I don't even mind sharing my network with you. My only thing when I share my network with you is you have to understand you're representing me. And that's my only request. It's just anytime I share my network, just remember that you're representing me. But that's pretty much it. And so to summarize today, pivoting is a necessity, not a choice. So we are all going to have to pivot, and soft skills drive successful transitions. And again, power skills and career agility is the future of work. And so just being open, stay resilient. I know right now we're seeing all the stuff on television that can make you feel like, "Oh my gosh, there's no hope." I went through this in 2008, okay? There was a recession, and I felt the same way. And honestly, if you think about your soft skills that you have and think about even your technical skills, think about careers that are adjacent to your sector. That doesn't mean you can never go back, but it's at least you're still practicing with your technical skills. Be open to certification. So I don't know if any of you are a part of TCIA, but they offer free certifications for people who are interested in natural resources or forestry. ISA has some study groups as well for their exam. Forest Proud has some opportunities. Manners has some opportunities. So just joining different organizations is going to be very, very helpful. So I just think like just getting plugged in, and please do not forget your handy dandy career center. I've worked at Georgetown, I've worked at Howard University, and I'll be honest, students do not come to the career center. And we honestly have jobs. We have direct connects with employers. So just don't feel like you can't go to them. They are there to help you, and you've paid for it. So use it. And there's also local career centers. So you've probably heard of the one stops. There's at least 125 centers. Go there. Ask them to look at your resume. You can send your resume into them. They also have governmental, municipal jobs that are listed on their websites. So, I mean, I think sometimes it's also about where you search. And so, if you need help with anything, like I said, after May 19th, I am completely open and I don't mind helping anybody on this call, your friends, or anything. And I also have a colleague as well that is helping people get jobs. Yes. And there are a lot of what's random about these job centers is people only think about the entry level positions. They actually have more than just entry level positions. But that's all I have for y'all guys. I could talk about this all day.
Jerry, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this presentation. This was really helpful. And I hadn't thought about the one-stop career centers as sort of analogous to a university career center. And it makes sense that the same thing is true, that they have jobs that they would love to tell you about, but they're there and you have to go there to learn
Mhm.
about it. So thanks for that tip and really um, all of the fantastic advice and I also want to thank the folks for participating, interacting. I apologize. I know that the chat did not allow you to chat to everyone until later in the presentation. But thank you, Jerry, for handling all of that. And yeah, so just want to say we really appreciate you sharing your insights and your journey with our participants today. Um, and
Thank you.
yeah. And everyone, we will be starting again tomorrow. I'm sorry, on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and it'll follow the same schedule. We'll have a keynote, a panel, and another workshop. So we hope you're able to join us on Wednesday as well.
Thank you. Thank you again. Again, please reach out. I'm here. All right. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Mhm.